Hello and welcome to Stumped Down the Leg Side, the cricket discussion show on Bizz 99.9 FM Substitute Radio. I'm your host Chukka Wilson. Welcome to the program. Today I'm going to be talking about why I love cricket so much, why it's such a wonderful and spectacular and entertaining sport, and what makes it such an endlessly fascinating, unpredictable and beautiful game. I'm not going to be mentioning any current events or trends or controversies, and I'll try to avoid references to specific players or matches. But rather, I'm going to try to explore the subject in a more general, holistic, and forest but not the trees sense. This podcast today will cover one feature or aspect of cricket that I love, namely that it's full of strategies and tactics, mind games and manoeuvrings, where most of the battle actually happens inside the players' heads rather than what actually happens on the pitch. And I'll return later in future podcasts to explore some other parts to this issue. Whenever I watch sport, I'm never really interested or impressed, let alone infatuated or obsessed, by the pure physical elements of the gameplay. In fact, I find the actual struggle between competing human bodies to achieve a particular goal as rather boring. That one person happens to be slightly better than another at doing something, running, swimming or jumping, seems a rather mundane fact. The human mind is far more interesting than the body. Human thinking is so richly complex and mysterious, with many different levels of consciousness, and the interrelation of emotions and ideas. Trying to understand how a human thinks and feels is a rewarding and fascinating exercise. It's a journey that could hypothetically take forever, and with every new stage in this excavation, one would discover new elements. Seeing the human mind in action can be so entertaining, engrossing, alluring. Being able to cope under pressure, maintain cool when losing, trying to think up strategies and tactics on the fly, outsmart and outmaneuver an opponent, be aggressive and ravenous to dominate and intimidate an opponent when the going's good, and be able to defend and austere when the going is on the opponent's side. So as a general rule, if a sport is faster, simpler and cleaner, where raw physical performance will usually win the day, I'm not going to be interested in watching it. But for those sports that are slower, more complex, and often messier, where often the winner will be the side who outsmarts, outwits, outthinks, and outflanks the other, then I'm much more likely to find it entertaining, invest energy in seeing the gameplay and knowing the result, and follow the proceedings of the competition throughout. This is why I find the Olympics to be utterly boring, where I never watch any of it and couldn't care less what happens. Knowing which human body can run or swim or throw the best is uninteresting and pointless, and in general, any sport that is generally or mostly determined by physical accomplishment alone will not interest or excite me. This is why I love cricket so much, because of all the sports, it is one where sheer physical ability only plays a minority portion in determining how the gameplay happens, while the mental and psychological side is the predominant terrain where the contest is held. A particular player is probably capable of performing a particular act. A batsman can hit the ball for six, while a bowler can bowl a delivery so that it hits the stumps. But the mere potential or even successful completion of this act isn't what drives a cricket game. It's actually about batsmen and bowlers trying to outwit and outsmart each other so that they might eventually create a state of affairs where they can actually perform those physical acts upon their opponents. A batsman might trick a bowler into bowling the ball right into the zone where he feels most comfortable. So when the moment finally happens, he pounces on his chance, playing a big shot and hitting the ball for six. Or think of a bowler who outsmarts a batsman by making him think the delivery will do one thing, but it actually does another, resulting in the batsman playing the wrong shot for that delivery. He doesn't hit the ball properly or at all, and instead it hits the stumps. In both these cases, the actual performance of the feat is only the final act in a long process, What actually was the meaningful contest was the long period of outsmarting right up to the final accomplishment. Much like a kettle boiling is only the results reaped after much work previously done behind the scenes, so is cricket about reaping the rewards of terrific performances only after their opponent has been fully outfought. And that's the end of the program. You've been listening to Stumped Down the Leg Side, the cricket discussion show on Bizz 99.9 FM Substitute Radio. I'm Chukka Wilson. Until next time, keep practicing, keep your eye on the ball, and remember to turn your wrists.